Good morning, traders. Tiago here from the Trading Cage, and this is where we beat the gold. Good morning, very good morning to you all. Let's go over to our gold now. And our gold for the past um, 12 hours or so has gone into a high rate of a bullish movement. It's actually went through all our stopping points, and it's quite high now into the structure. Um, most of it due to the announcements that Trump made last night, yesterday actually, about how he thinks that the war is going to be over soon. So people had got some high hopes about it, and then the gold, not only gold, Nasdaq also um, went through the roof. So pretty good at the moment. But since we are day traders and all we look is for is smaller movement, so we can um, take our profit out of the market. Um, let's go have a look at what we can do about this and how we're gonna map it. All right. So 1 second. Let's wait for everybody to get into our live. Cool. So we are live at the moment. Great. All right. It's not working. Come on, come on. Won't be a sec. All right. So here on our daily chart, what can we see? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear all of these indicators out, all these lines out, and we will do everything again. All right. So we start fresh so we can have a good idea of what is really happening right now. So we had price here opening up yesterday. You opened up pretty much at the trigger candle here, number 60, okay? So found support here once again, and then pretty much took off. So basic points that we had um, in this region was candle 81, which was supposed to hold the price, and trigger candle here 71 was also a good relevant stopping point, which can still be a support. Take that out. Okay. Before I actually press delete and delete the whole thing again. Happens sometimes. So from the last movement, we can see that candle 88 came around to our 50%. So we are around 50% above support. We do have a support here on the region of candle 85. Okay, so candle 85 here could be a last support for the price. So for now, I'm going to bring this up here to candle 81. Let's see how much of a retraction price will make. But here is a good region of resistance, and we got support just below. I'm gonna do a another line in a lower time frame. Price already came here to the 50%. If price does break through this 50, it will be confirming pullback to the high, which would be good because then we can get into a buy here and hold pretty much until there. Could take some days to actually get there, but we would need candle 88 to close today above 50% of these movement, okay? For us to be able to do that. For the moment being, we are still below 50% of the movement. Trying to find out here where did this price test, or did it just reach that 50% and now ran out of liquidity? So we got trigger candle 78 here. All right. I'm going to put a line here on candle 78 as well. And then leave it at that. All right, let's go over to our 1 hour candle, 1 hour chart here to see if we can actually see anything a little better. I'm actually going to look at the 4 hour chart first, since this has been such a great movement going upwards. So we had price reaching over that 50%, broke through, didn't grab any liquidity up the top. So we still got liquidity up here from that movement there. So I'm gonna put a box here. And then the liquidity, the other liquidity we have is the one below, which is here. Plus we have a lot of inefficiency below candle 11. So there's a lot of inefficiency there. One thing that I did not mark up was the trigger candle 58. This is the last relevant stopping point that we have on that chart. It's just below that liquidity. All right, so on the 1 hour, we can see how this movement just went right up. Price can correct up until 50% of the day, which is here on the region of the 4630, 35. So around this region here would be a region of support. Normally, as we know, after a very long movement, the gold tends to come back to the region of 50% to test. I could expect this movement to come up even up here, okay, on the region of the 4642, simply because this is where we have the last support in the region. So now we are on an uptrend, a clear uptrend, because it has actually broken through the structure before. Okay, so we got higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, and now a higher high from this structure here. So this tells us that we are back into a high trend on the macro. So what we gotta do today is, I don't want to be shorting these markets. Okay, I would prefer to buy, but I do know that price must correct itself. So if it must go through a correction, I've got to make sure that I wait until the right spot for me to be able to go through with my long buy once again. Now, the American market can open actually bringing price down to try to reach these 50% of the movement, or it can actually come back up just to grab the inefficiency generated on candle 59 and candle 61. But for that, we would need to wait to see exactly how this is going to happen so we don't get into it in the wrong movement, okay? We are going to have to wait for the right movement today to try to get into this trade simply because the frequency of the market is quite high at the moment, and any of the movements we try to get, the stop is going to be quite high. So it's better for us to wait a little bit and see what's going to happen. We may get a three candle pattern here on the structure, okay, on the 15 minutes. If we do, if candle 59 comes, test down to this region and comes back up, we might have a three candle pattern here coming back up into that region once again. All right. So have you guys got any questions so far, or everything is okay? So we had a very good movement down here. We had a trend line, but the trend line has been broken. Let's see on the 1 minute if we have that trend line here, that down movement. Which price is trying to break through now. I would like to wait for that 15 minutes to come back down here and actually reject that region before we actually start buying, simply because it would be good to know that we actually got into a support region. Otherwise, what this could be is simply the market correcting on the 50% of the last movement once again. So market can come up to this region here and then make another pullback down, confirming pullback until the 50% of the day. So that's what I was saying, that we don't want to be getting into the market in the wrong spot, because in the wrong spot, the stop could be very, very big. Okay. So once the price gets into these frequency regions, frequency is good for us to wait a bit to make sure that we know exactly what price wants to do. And the 174 hasn't tested down either. So basically what I'm looking for is I need to make sure that this is a three candle pattern on, hang on the 15 minutes. So what can happen here is price came here into a region of support. It's not the region that I would like it to test. This one's a lot stronger because this one has got the structure, the last structure, okay, and hasn't been tested. So would be good if price actually came down here and then generated a three candle pattern here for us to go long once again. What's happening in the situation here in the 5 minutes is that price got into this region. It can make a pullback into the 50 here and then confirm pullback to the minimums. Okay, so bringing the price down once again. And this is what we got to be careful about, because gold will always make a rejection of a movement and then will come up to the 50% of the movement and then test it and then bring it back down, simply generating more liquidity below candle 172. Okay, we are in a high trend. We are in an uptrend at the moment. It would be a lot better to buy than to sell, but at the moment I've got to wait for the price to reach the right region. Unless price actually breaks through this 50% here, because if price comes back into this 50%, then it tells me that came down here, found support, is breaking through 50%, confirming pullbacks to the highs. All right. So those two things can happen. But at the moment, I'm going to be tracking this movement here. All right. Do you guys have got any questions? Everybody's happy? Understood? Man, the dollar today just opened up with a gap and flew up. Now coming back into the 50% of the day, but it has not made a rejection of that top part of the today. So we've got to wait on that one. Candle 174 getting to that 50% region. Got ball flying up. Tested down. It didn't test. It didn't come yet. To the region that it should have. I've got a prior code below. Looks like today is going to be an awesome day to trade. A lot of volatility in the market, which is great. Right, so we have here a rejection on candle 174. Candle 175 didn't test much up. Was expecting it to make a better test than that. We've got quite a bit of pressure from sellers at the moment. It's really bad how it didn't test enough in there. 15 minutes here did test, is testing down quite well. But for me to be able to buy this price here on the 1 minute should come at least around the 50% and then make a rejection here from the 50%. That would save us from a possible pricing coming down and then going up, then coming down again to retest the region. Candle 871 hasn't broken through the trigger candle 868. So I'm gonna wait. We've got a very good bullish movement here, but when price comes down, it comes down quite quick. As you could see, there was an acceleration here from sellers on candle 869 and candle 870, which tells us that we still have pressure from sellers. Since we have that, it's better for us to wait for a better test here on the 15 minutes than trying to buy just in front of our 50% of the day region. Or we could just wait until we align ourselves and wait until the opening of the American market. Because at the moment, it did two very good movements, even though it hasn't come back into the 50% of the day or the regional support down below. It might just consolidate a little bit around this region until the opening of the American market, and then it will decide on which way price will go. Now, it is quite normal for the price of the gold after it comes through a long pull like this. It does tend to retract to its 50%, and its 50% is basically here, not up here. So it would be good to see it coming down into this region here to test the support. That's why I'm a little bit, I don't want to be selling here, but I don't want to be buying here either because it hasn't tested the support that we would like it to test yet. It's one of those things. Right now, I prefer to wait than to get into a trade, um, simply because it could be just manipulating buyers or sellers at this stage around this region. All right. Remember again that patience is the name of the game. So patience pays the trader, and this is what we are aiming to do. There's no point of us rushing through to get into trades where it could be quite bad for us if we don't wait for it. As we can see, candle 174 closed as rejection of the 50%, then candle 175 pushed the price up but couldn't continue the movement. So not a really good region to be buying, okay? Candle 176 trying to come up once again on the 1 minute here. You can see clearly what has been happening. Price consolidated here in this region. Pretty stuck in there. Big fight from buyers and sellers at that same region there. Let's wait for it. All right, so candle 176 coming down now. All right, candle 176 once again. Continuing on its way down. Let's see how that's going to react here on the 50%. All right, candle 176 closed in this region. Candle 177 is testing up. So this could be the rejection of this 50%, but we can see that there's not a lot of force here from sellers, okay? So if there's not a lot of movement here from sellers, there's not a hell of a lot we can do right now. Candle 177 testing up, still in that same region. Hasn't been able to break through to the lowest point yet. We had candle 175 here, getting quite close to that trigger candle 172. Okay. So it's one of those things. It may have had a rejection here, but I do believe that this price does need to come down a bit more. Actually, I'm gonna put a sell here. Um, I have lowered my the number of contracts here. Let's see if this price will actually come down to this regional support that I wanted to go. Okay, the stop's quite low, so it's worth the risk. So let's wait and see. All right, so candle 177 made a pullback to the highs. Hasn't confirmed it yet. It's quite odd, this movement here from candle 59 on the 15 minutes. So I'm gonna wait. Candle 177 didn't continue the movement down. I'm gonna leave this trade alone for now, okay? I will wait for a confirmation. Confirmation would be a breakthrough of one of the 50% regions, either this one or this one, okay? So that would be a confirmation that the movement's going up. But as I said before, I still expect this price to come down below to test that support before it actually goes up. So I will wait because I do believe that these may happen. Price may come down here to do something like this. All right. May not be now, maybe at the opening of the American market in 45 minutes. Um, but this is a movement that I think it's necessary. If it does the opposite, if it comes up here, it does this, breaks through these 50, then I'll go long. It's not a problem. Okay. Candle 178, trying to come back into the region of 50%. Let's see if it's going to be able to grab the liquidity here from these guys that was generated here in the 1 minute, and then if it's going to accelerate or if it's going to come back into the movement. Okay, but it would be good if we actually got the liquidity generated on top of this region before it starts doing that. So if it actually came here and went back inside of the movement, then it would be a lot clearer for us the intentions of the market. Right, so candle 178 coming back inside of the movement. If it does close here below candle 177, I will be putting that short position back in. Put the short position once again. Let's see if candle 179 will come grab it and continue on its way down. Okay, so candle 179 coming back again on the 1 minute. We can see the same thing. Now we are on the trade. Let's see if it stop these guys or if it's gonna try to come back up. Price does need to grab the liquidity. Hasn't done so far, so still waiting for it to come and grab the liquidity. Either the bottom or the top. Okay. So I got into this trade with a very low hand here, simply because it hasn't been able to break through these highs, which means that most likely it started rounding up the top. Price may have to come down. As I said, I am expecting this correction to be below these regions still, because I'm looking at options of buying down here. But the stop is very, very cheap in here. So since it started rounding up, it's worth taking that risk. All right, guys. So candle 179 is coming back up. All right. So candle 179 coming down. Finally grabbing the liquidity below the candles to the left. And the 180 is still playing around in that region. Okay, it hasn't continued the move then down, but candle 179 did come on target here, the target of the trigger candle. But we still don't have enough liquidity to continue on its way up. So we should see a correction down below. I have been saying that for quite a while now. But let's see if sellers push this price down, okay? Until here. We're talking about 900 points. So this should be doable quite easily. Guys, it's now 9:58. I do have to go now at 10 o'clock. As I said before, I'm gonna leave you with these. I'm gonna let these trade run through. Okay, I still expect price to come down here. Best region for the price to correct itself is down here at 4642. Okay, once again, I'm gonna show you why. It's because we have these regions here to the left. Okay, so best region for this price to correct itself would be around here. Now, if it comes and stops me here, that's totally fine, okay? So that's not a problem at all. So if it does correct itself around here and leaves me a three candle pattern, I will be looking to get into a buy here into these upper regions, okay? But at the moment, I don't want to be buying right here. It's not the place I want to buy. All right? Thank you very much. I do have to go, guys, trade with my other students. It has been awesome to be here. And remember, this is the trading cage where we beat the gold. Have an awesome day. Don't forget that this price is on a high trend. It's better to buy than to sell, but it's a lot better to buy in a proper region, either down below or after it breaks through this 50% up here. Okay? See you later, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed day.